Before coming to Cisco, I was working in an automotive organization which deals with automotive software. There I was working on an equipment which is not supposed to be for India but European market. Many a times the software that I have written with these 10 fingers actually went into the unit and crashed. Made a release, got back the release. Made a release, went to customer, serious bug. Never in my life I have seen software crashing such a number of times compared to any other thing. Had it been a billing that would actually crash and people consult it every day and every night, they are not going to accept it. If you have a equipment which stops working twice or thrice per day, you are definitely going to return that gadget back to a shopkeeper. But why is that software always crashes? My speech is not about software getting crashed. As the topic of speech goes, it's about the science of software design in general, but the laws of software in specific. Then when my software started crashing and when I started observing why is that this is happening, then I realized there's only one reason. There are good programmers and there are bad programmers. Bad programmers doesn't know or doesn't understand what they are trying to change, but good programmers do. This is one of the reason or one of the foundation over which I started framing my theory or the science of software design. It's the second rule, not rule, the second point which I actually concentrated upon, that there is never called a problem with management or customers. There's always a problem with bad programming. But then I'm also a programmer. Then I just cannot criticize myself or why is it so? Because programmers are intelligent people and they are very rational. But then where is this bad programming coming into picture? When I try to decipher, drill deep, then I understand the devil is in the details. The devil is in the complexity. Then I understood, yes, the art of software is making that complexity, getting itself or reducing the convoluted code and making it more simpler. So it's a transition from complexity to simplicity. But then this is a very vague abstraction that I am actually telling. And whenever somebody says there's a problem with software, people just cannot lift something which is heavy or which is solid and peek inside and say that, okay, this is the problem, because it's very abstract. But then abstract things cannot be made into science. Then I had to formulate some theory, or I had to formulate some mechanism to actually convert it into science. Now, the first point to actually tell, in general, why software design is science in itself, because it has observations. It has undergone a lot of observation by very eminent people, and there are many books, and there are facts. The observations getting converted into facts, and then there are some laws. It's like the very simple law could be the laws that are imposed by compiler when you write a particular language, and there should be some steps, some methodical ways wherein I can say that if I do this step 1, step 2, step 3, then I am going to reach the result. Wherein what I am saying is the observed fact which is actually being used in the real life. And fourth, there has to be a methodical observation, not only in terms of making something abstract to work in real life, but then you try to craft a theory, you do an experimentation, and then you see the result. And verify whether the experimentation results are in sync with the theory. Like you do an analysis of some algorithm and you say that, okay, this is the time for which it is going to run, theoretically. But then when you actually run it on a machine, you actually see that it ticks according to the time that you have crafted. That, in general, is the science of any subject. But don't you think all these facts are very much applicable to even software design? In that sense, software design is a science. Then when I talk about science, or for example, to take an example, physics, you have the 3 laws for the classical mechanics. In the same way, the software design has 3 laws. The first law is law of change.
before my getting into law of change, I have very valid question to every one of us. This is the question that I have asked not only my peers, my friends in other companies, but my managers, my tech leads, and also my CEOs. They told, I asked them, what is that you write software for? Don't say that you write software for money. We all write software for people. That's the biggest ethic that underlies in our efforts to come up with a software. But then, the first law, keeping that ethic on the top of the hill, the first law is the law of change, which states that every software, as the time goes on, will be subjected to change. You cannot just write one code and say that that's going to work 10 days later or 10 years later, because maybe a future version of you might see the whole code in a different perspective, and you are going to change it. And history has proven, or the facts have proved, that there are files which change umpteen number of times compared to, and at the end of the day, the number of lines that are actually changed, either in terms of getting added or deleted, are 10 to 20 times more than the original lines of code. The second law of software is the change of defect law of defect probability. If you don't touch the code, you are not going to make any bugs. But if you touch the code more often and you try to make more number of changes to the code, you are going to end up with more number of bugs. But does it mean that you should not make the change? Because it actually is contradicting with my first law, which is law of change. But then the changes have to be incremental. The changes have to be done not to accommodate the software, but to accommodate the environment. Or in other ways, the changes to the software have to be done keeping in mind the changes that will be happen to environment, but the more number of changes that can happen to environment and the less number of changes that can happen to the software. The third law is law of simplicity.
Hope you have remembered the word complexity or the convoluted code which you have. The amount of convolution that you have in the code is directly proportional to the amount of convolution that you have in its individual pieces. So if you start simplifying the individual pieces, you indirectly end up in making the more convoluted beast into a beast that you can actually tame. These three laws, I believe, will actually sum up my science of software design. So concluding the speech, I would like to say that software design is not an abstract thing that are only confined to catchy words or only words which are spoken by grey-haired people giving big fancy and rosy terms, but it's a science in itself and it has its own rules, and if you stick by the rules and abide by the rules of the game, you can turn the complexity into simplicity. Over to you, Krishna.